This is one of the very interesting panel discussions that I feel privileged to be involved in. And I think it's because I've heard about repatriation and things being taken away. And a lot of people, of course, are very passionate about our items which have disappeared abroad for one reason or the other, which probably we'll be discussing here. About, just to answer your question, it is true that 'cause the way my question was framed before was how do we, some of the archaeological objects, when they go out, how do they come back and how do we receive them? And a lot of archaeological materials, to start there, they don't belong to anyone, but they are our heritage. So when I say they don't belong to anyone, it's because archaeological materials, a lot of them happened before we started calling ourselves Kenya or Meru or Kamba or whatever. But then they are our heritage, so they belong to all of us. So, they still go, as Joki has just mentioned. They go because we have very weak structures in this country. The National Museums of Kenya is in charge of all and I think also George mentioned that, it's the custodian of all the cultural heritage in this country. But then when we have structures like Nakosti giving permits to everyone who wants to do archaeology without actually checking with the National Museum, yeah? So you have affiliations happening everywhere and people can go to the field, then there's no control. And so when they go to the airport, probably when people live with these things, then they don't put any value to them. Because when you see archaeology, by the nature of archaeology, when you see a bone, it doesn't mean anything, probably. Or you see a potsherd is a broken pot. It might not mean anything to the person at the migrations, but the person that is carrying it knows the value of that object. So there are a lot of objects from our countries which have, and even from Kenya, which have gone away. And there are some that up to today we don't know where they are, including one of the very important fossil that is called Orrorin, which is about 7 million years old. But when nobody knows where it is. And it's one of the most important fossil that has ever been found.
Could you tell us why this particular fossil is so important?
Yes, because it is, Orrorin is seen as one of the earliest hominids. And when I say hominids, it's in the line of humans, yeah? So it has features of humans, and it's one of the oldest that has ever been found in the world. So it was excavated and found in Baringo, but it's not in the museums, or the museums don't know where it is. So there's that problem of artifacts and also fossils being taken away, and because of structures that we have which are not very, very strong.